It's debunking time.
Indeed.
It's debunking time.
I don't want to do this after what happened last time.
What do you mean what happened last time?
You know, the last time my brain got damaged?
Oh, yeah.
Who's ready to listen to some amazing, video? Oh my god, no, I don't wanna.
This amazing live stream content.
Yes, of this amazing, video. Yeah, amazing YouTuber, not biased at all against Elon Musk. Not at all.
Definitely didn't say SpaceX and the FAA were lying.
Yeah, because of course, like, who would ever say that?
Common sense skeptic.
Let's just get into it.
Pause, but yes.
Huh?
Let's go. Start.
I'm scared. Because last time I did this, I was angry for 2 hours after. Okay. Here we go.
Whoa.
This gives me PTSD.
This thing.
Welcome to this episode of the Common Sense Skeptic, where we're going to dig into a recent Twitter Space interview of Elon Musk hosted by fanboy Tim Dodd.
Oh god.
Did you say fanboy?
This is already a bad start.
It's not going well.
We are 32 seconds in, and we already found an error.
Can we explain how Tim Dodd is a fanboy of SpaceX and Elon, but he covers all aspects of aerospace and aerospace engineering?
I don't even, like, hold on. He calls him a fanboy, and then he says that he posted the interview, but it was a public Twitter space. Well, not public, it was for members, but still.
That was also posted to YouTube by someone else.
By a million other people. Okay, kill me.
Dealing with Musk's interpretation of events surrounding the Starship maiden launch disaster.
Ah, that disaster.
This was recorded a week after the 420 crash took place, and many of the statements that Musk made were interesting to say the least. As we go through...
By the way, this is an hour and 12 minutes, so buckle up.
Buckle up, boys.
Oh, can barely hear the audio. Okay. Let me try to fix that 1 second.
We're off to a great start.
Can you speak?
Hello.
Okay, let me add a little more.
Was our audio dying?
I guess it was low. Alright, let's try this now.
Through this virtual exchange of bodily fluids between Musk and Dodd.
What? What does that mean?
Oh, my phone's dying. 1 second.
Sorry, I need to hear that again.
As we go through this virtual exchange of bodily fluids between Musk and Dodd.
I don't even...
Please
what?
don't have a breakdown because this dude already.
My brain is already falling apart. What does he mean by exchange of bodily fluids?
How many seconds in are we?
49, and we've already paused like 5 times.
Oh, brother, we're in for a wild hour and a half.
Oh no.
Keeping in mind that Dodd is one of 10 people currently waiting until hell freezes over for
what?
his free seat on the Yusaku Maezawa Dear Moon crew mission. We intend to show why and how to interpret a Musk interview conducted by a totally bought and paid for sycophant.
Literally, he's just a space fan, but okay.
Indeed.
and why exactly you should take interviews like this with a pinch of salt, followed by a shot of penicillin.
This guy's
The
one to
format's-
talk.
Oh my god, help me.
Started out as a Musk expository rundown, and ended with more of a Q&A session, including questions from a couple of journalists whose name you'll probably recognize. As we go through the hour-long broadcast highlights, we'll timestamp pertinent statements, give you the facts with regards to the points being brought up at the time, and make special notes of the contradictions we can find.
Yeah, whenever you say contradiction, just put Elon Musk on the screen. That makes it more credible.
Also, while we have been putting this episode together, of course, new information has come to light, and we'll add those tidbits as...
Oh, he's 100% gonna comment on how Starship was grounded. As if any other rocket doesn't get grounded when it, blows up. Am I on my own? Oh my god, you're finally on your computer. Okay, can you say something?
You guys gonna hold?
What?
Hold.
We're waiting for Starship 24, also known as Excella Space.
Hello?
Oh my god, my ears!
Sorry. My internet and microphone had a breakdown. Sorry for the mid-show breakdown.
Oh god, my eardrums!
Am I a bit loud?
It was like when Ian went into the stream for the first time on Josh's channel. Okay, I fixed it.
Let's continue.
as updates after we show the conclusions we came to before that information was released. And, so we're clear, we are once again going to edit out all the mumbles we can, so that a clip that originally sounds like this.
And our first guess would have been that the rock tornado would have caused potentially significant damage to the engines, but
turns into something more like this.
Our first guess would have been that the rock tornado would have caused potentially significant damage to the engines, but
much easier to listen to. But if you think the context of the edit has been changed in any way, feel free to check the entire mumbling, stammering, pregnant pause presentation in its original form yourself.
Cause making fun of people who stutter is okay.
Yeah. Doesn't Elon have like a condition that makes him stutter?
I have no idea. I don't care enough to look it up, but still, like, why would you even comment on that?
Exactly.
The Twitter space recording starts off with Musk introducing Dodd, and the first speaker, who isn't properly introduced, Irene Klotz, a senior space editor for Aviation Week and Space Technology. Klotz and Dodd spend the first minute...
I cannot
do this with this idiot anymore.
I'm losing, like, We're 2 minutes and 32 seconds in. We've been live for 11 minutes.
That can't be possible.
I cannot.
I can't do this anymore. He's gonna be the reason I stop doing YouTube.
Minute fawning over Musk and the amazing Starship launch, which in their eyes was a huge success.
It kind of was.
Yeah, I mean, the main point was to cough, cough, get the vehicle clear of the pad in the beach, and cough, cough. It far exceeded that.
The whole point of the flight was just to fly it. Why won't he never get this?
Yes.
Then Musk launches unprompted into his claims of a successful launch.
the outcome was roughly what I expected. Maybe slightly exceeding my expectations, but roughly what I expected. Or hoped for, I should say, which is that we would get clear of the pad with minimal damage to the pad, and I'm glad to report that the pad damage is actually quite small and looks like it can be repaired quickly.
So that should put everyone at ease, right? This launch, which blasted shrapnel and debris over several square kilometers, obliterated the launch mount foundation, ruptured the tank farm.
Did not rupture the tank farm. And this is funny, because this was only 2 weeks ago. By this time, everyone knew that only the tank jackets had punctures in them.
Exactly.
But
And
he doesn't care
you-
enough.
And also, yes, like this was 2 weeks ago, but you can even see now, just a few days ago, SpaceX welded, I believe it was some, like, I don't know what they're called, but some rings onto the side of the tank farm shells and literally just pulled the dents out, and they should be fine now.
Ooh, it's never gonna work again.
Indeed.
And had cascading failures of engines resulting in the destruction of the vehicle over Mexican waters exceeded Musk's expectation.
Oh no, not the Mexican waters, that there were proper guidances and and NOTAMs and NOTMARs given to, so that nobody was there in the first place.
Oh, I would never know.
God, I can't believe SpaceX would do that.
I mean, it's not like it'll be like published on a public website called FAA.gov, right?
No. It's obviously all behind doors.
Exactly.
Only minutes into this interview, these statements beg the question: was the FAA, as the licensing agency, aware that this was Musk's expectation when the FAA hastily granted a launch license for this event the week prior?
Yes! Also, it's not Musk. It's like everyone except Musk.
Pretty much.
He barely has anything to do with it. It's
Elon is not really. Elon is definitely involved with the progress of SpaceX and what happens, but not as much as he used to be.
he's like a supervisor now. He's letting them do what they want.
Pretty much. I mean, that if you go look at Tim Dodd's tours, you can literally see the people that are in charge of certain sections of Starbase and SpaceX.
Oh, but he's a fanboy.
I know.
In Musk's assessment, the level of destruction to the OLM was minimal. Very little damage to the pad and can be repaired quickly.
That's not what he said. He said it was not damaged that badly, which means it was still damaged, but this guy interprets it as him saying it's not damaged at all.
A little slow in the brain.
Just a little bit, how do I say that? Oh, dumb.
He says. The question there, of course, is what pad? There is no pad left.
What are you talking about?
Okay, well, I don't think this guy understands in Starship terms what the launch pad is.
I think the launch pad is the part where the rocket launches from, and I'm pretty sure it's still there.
And also in Starship terms, the launch pad in some ways can be classified as the entire launch infrastructure needed for launch, aka stage 0, which was for the most part saved during this launch. It could have been obliterated from a full stack exploding on the pad, but it was not.
I consider the launch pad, the OLM, everything under the OLM, and the tower.
Exactly.
Under the OLM. It's completely gone, but more on that later.
Yeah, totally gone. They could never repair that. Oh, wait!
Musk continues on about the collection of data that SpaceX claims to have collected.
We would also get significant in-flight data, particularly with respect to the pressurizing of the tanks with the propellant liquids. So that actually looked quite good.
Now, here's the thing. As you'll see as this interview continues, it becomes pretty damned obvious that they were not able to collect nearly as much data, even from the engine failures, as you would expect.
What?
Well, if you actually look at it, I think it makes sense why they couldn't collect data from the engine failures, as he states. Maybe because their sensors were possibly, I don't know, exploded with the engine.
Yeah, you can't get data from an engine that doesn't exist anymore, to be honest.
It's like it's like saying you're trying to collect data from a test tank that has already popped.
Mucho data. Hold.
How are we like how are we like almost 17 minutes in and we're like not even 10 minutes into this video? Is it really that bad? Yes, it is.
Hold is released.
What happened?
You don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
And if they are relying on their own telemetry banner, or the monitoring equipment feeding the information to the telemetry banner,
Help me.
that information is going to be flawed. since we already know that the Super Heavy engine diagram stopped reacting properly after the 6th failure.
I wonder why that would be.
Maybe it's because the sensors are gone.
Or because it's the first flight and the software isn't perfect.
You can literally, and also Elon has stated in the past, this was back in the Booster 4 and Chip 20 days. Even the Booster 7 as an upgrade, Elon stated that things were too heavy and things were wrong. It's just a matter of how wrong.
By our count, at least 11 Raptors quit before the machine entered the death spiral, but the graphic was frozen after it reverted back to showing only 5 units out. At 220, Musk continues.
We also went supersonic. That was no problem at all.
At launch, there were 33 rocket engines strapped to the bottom of this cylinder. You should have been able to cinch these to a garbage skip and still hit Mach 1 with ease. Hell, they do something very similar at rocket sled test ranges all the time with wedges on rails. So really,
That is a completely different thing. That is like the most different thing you can get. Like, what? What? So, hold on. So, Elon says that going supersonic was not a problem. And then this guy tries to prove that going supersonic wasn't a problem. Like, what? What is his point? I don't understand his point.
I mean, it's kind of also somewhat visually obvious that going supersonic was not really an issue.
Help me.
not a big deal. The question is, can you get to that benchmark intact? And obviously, Starship could not.
What? I can't. Help me. Help.
I'm dying on the inside currently. As someone who's followed Starship since 2019, this is very disappointing.
What do you mean Starship did not make it through the supersonic period intact? How did it not?
Are you classifying it not making it through intact as 7 TPS tiles falling off, or?
Well, you see, part of the steel disintegrated, because the Raptors blew it off the rocket, which means the whole rocket blew up. Yeah.
There's white smoke coming off, showing clearly that it failed.
Yes, this white smoke. He actually thought it's white smoke. I bet he still believes it's white smoke and not a max hue contrail. Jesus, help me.
Please.
I'm not even a Christian.
The rocket was already missing at least 6, possibly 8 Raptors by the time this vehicle went supersonic, and the time it took to reach Mach 1 was a full minute longer than it took shuttle.
Why? Why are you doing this to me?
Oh god, that is 2 completely different vehicles, 2 completely different thrust to weight sizes, avionic, everything is basically different on them, maybe besides like the tile color.
No. This what? The shuttle has SRBs on it. Of course it goes supersonic quickly. They are the least comparable vehicles ever created. Oh, they're both super heavy lift, so therefore they're the same rocket.
I mean, they both have Mach diamonds, so they're clearly the same, right?
Yeah, definitely. This one barely even had Mach diamonds. They were huge Mach diamonds.
Super Heavy's Mach diamonds were absolutely amazing.
Well, no, they're not, because all the Raptors failed, so therefore there's no more Mach. I can't do this.
Of course, Starship never went hypersonic as intended either, meaning Mach 5 or faster.
I wonder why that would be.
No, wait, is it? Oh, 6 engines were gone.
Oh my god. Yeah, compare Starship to a 747 Concorde X-51A and X-15. Those are planes!
He is also comparing this, saying the engines were at 100% throttle when they were throttled down to about 90%.
Well, no,
So,
obviously.
I would have to say, even though all of his stuff is basically wrong, that it's more wrong than he's saying it is.
A threshold shuttle crossed at 2.
Oh, kill yourself. I can't even hold it in anymore. Why is Shuttle in here?
Shuttle and Starship are the most least comparable rockets ever.
It's like comparing like apples to demons from hell.
Their TPS colors are the same, so they're obviously the same launch vehicle.
Yeah, I can't do this.
41 into flight at a similar altitude to the apogee of this particular launch.
So I'm going through obviously some good news items here. The vehicle structural margins appear to be better than we expected, as we can tell by the fact that the vehicle is actually doing somersaults towards the end and still staying intact.
As you can see, in the end, the combined vehicle did not stay intact.
It kind of did.
Yeah, I mean, if you can if the vehicle stayed together as after you can see the ship partly coming off the top of the booster and the booster crumpling, and then the ship getting stuck on top of the booster, and it stayed together during its bagillion cartwheels, I would say that that's a pretty structural capable vehicle.
This channel will be the death of me.
I swear.
And it was structural failure that finally caused the terminal explosions of the flight.
That's kind of how that works.
That's probably the only thing I'll somewhat agree with in this, because literally the FTS popped holes in the tanks but didn't rupture them, and it got low enough in the atmosphere again to the point where the air just tore it apart.
God is not real.
From a rocket standpoint and pad standpoint, we are probably ready to launch in 6 to 8 weeks.
He's gonna go crazy at this, isn't he? Do I need to prepare mentally for him to be like, well, actually, alright, here we go.
All we're going to say about this 6 to 8 week claim now is that we're going to have a bunch to say about it later, but for now, let's continue.
The longest lead item on that is probably requalification of the flight termination system, because we did initiate the flight termination system, but it took way too long to rupture the tanks. So we need more detonation cord to lines up the tanks at altitude and ensure that basically the rocket explodes immediately.
What was the time lag?
I think it was on the order of 40 seconds-ish.
Requalification of an FTS system is not a process that moves quickly, and from what we saw in a previous analysis video from the ineffectiveness of the one used, a new...
That is the cowbell dance.
And he says that's not a quick process when, I think, a week after the launch, they re-verified it.
Yeah, Booster 6 died so Booster 9 could fly.
Exactly.
system would have to start from scratch, so you're talking months, not weeks. Now, in this segment...
Did anyone actually think it was only going to take 8 weeks?
He also said that verifying the FTS was not going to take weeks. It was going to take months. It took days.
I hate life.
We can clear up a couple common comments made in our previous video comment section. First, it's obvious they intended for the FTS to blast the rocket out of the sky, which it did not. That's what we concluded in the video.
I actually hate life.
Sierra 7 wasn't even FTS, right?
No. Not that I remember. You know what? Let's see. Let's take a look.
Let's take a gander. Where did my phone go?
All right.
Oh boy.
The LOX tank. The LOX tank lost pressure.
Yep.
It broke up. It wasn't even FTS.
Because I think it makes sense that if something loses pressure going like Mach 3, I don't think it's going to stay together too well.
Help me.
Second, there were comments made about how the FTS is automated by mandate of the FAA, and that this event was automatically triggered. Musk is contradicting the assertion that this was an automated event by saying it was triggered from the ground at their discretion.
It can also be manual.
Help.
Last time I checked, it's also a dependency that it's manual. But according to the Common Sense Skeptic, it can only be automatic.
Yeah, it's not like there's a little person called the range safety officer in mission control.
No, no. See, the range safety officer doesn't exist because he's Elon totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they have a big red button on their desk.
Help me.
When FTS was triggered, it took too long to rupture the tanks. The delay between instruction and tank rupture was, according to Musk, about 40 seconds. So the suggestion this launch included a successful test of the FTS is not truthful. FTS failed.
This was literally the day of the launch. We had no idea the FTS was triggered 40 seconds before it blew up.
Yeah, we were literally going off leaked pictures and leaked information at that point.
This is ridiculous.
No, it's terrible.
And has to be redesigned, and then it has to be requalified, including, according to Musk, much more detonation cord to unzip the tanks and destroy the vehicle instantaneously.
Wow, that's gonna be so difficult.
It's not like it took 6 days for
I'll
them
go
to
through a
do it.
bunch of notables. At liftoff, there were 3 engines that we chose not to start that hit aborts. And so we actually lifted off with 30 engines, which is the minimum number of engines. Those engines did not explode, but the system didn't think they were healthy enough to bring them to full thrust, so they were shut down.
Prior to T-0, Mission Control detected that 3 engines on Booster 7 were not healthy.
Am I right when I look at that and I think it's the wrong way?
I think it might be the wrong way.
Oh,
okay.
no, it definitely is.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. What way is relative to the tower?
I'm pretty sure it's over here because there's the big prop line.
Wow.
Like, is that going to the QD?
Okay. So wait, go full screen, please. Okay, so you see the propellant line on the left leg? The thing up where? Okay.
Am I
You gotta love
blind?
doing this you gotta love doing this in the middle of a stream.
Yeah.
So I believe it's on the side that engine 25 is. Or no, wait, that's wrong. Oh no, that's wrong. Okay. Wait, and
This is the best part of the stream.
I know. Uh-huh. I'm confused.
It would be funny if this wasn't even Booster 7.
There's no other booster with 33 engines on the OLM yet.
I'm joking.
I have no idea.
I don't think I care anyway. It's obviously the wrong way, though.
Yeah, it is.
That were indicating abort, but Musk chose to launch anyway.
I think that's because they gave up trying to fix Booster 7 and just wanted to move on.
I think they just wanted to, like, send it.
Also, didn't it have, like, the first Raptor 2s?
Yeah, Booster 7 and Ship 24 were literally the first vehicles to, like, test Raptor version 2. Booster 7 had, like, a few different versions of Raptor 2 on it, and so did S24.
Booster 9 has, like, mature Raptor 2 on it.
Yeah, I believe Ship 24, so its Raptor vacuum engines were never replaced. Its Raptor vacuum engines are literally, I think, the bare bones Raptor version 2. And then 2 engines that were on the 6-engine static fire are Raptor like 2.5, and then the one sea level they replaced is version like 2.7.
Help me.
Anyway, and abort today to conduct maintenance on those 3 engines.
I think they'd rather launch than stop the whole launch operation just so they can fix 3 engines that wouldn't stop them from launching in the first place.
Yeah, I believe that 4 engines is also the minimum. You have to have at least 29 at liftoff, because that's what Booster 4 had.
God save me.
May have increased their odds a week from now, but Musk would have lost his all-important 420. Also, a 10% failure rate in Raptor's pre-ignition does not speak well for reliability.
Raptor 2 was barely existent when Booster 7 was made.
Whatsoever.
Booster 7 on its first ever rollout, literally I think had Raptor version like 2.1 or something with engines.
Raptor version, I give up.
Yeah, like its engine versions were all over the place.
Save me.
Let's assume what Musk is saying here is true. Although, given the state of the immediate vicinity, there's absolutely no chance Raptors weren't bombarded with debris upon ignition.
No, they weren't.
Oh, really? I think it would also make sense that if the concrete got shattered from under the OLM, it would either get absolutely forced down into the ground or shot outwards from the force of the Raptors.
And it was shot outwards. There's no way it's gonna get into the engines.
Yeah, it's not gonna come up.
And according to photos of the back end of the ship, those engines that weren't firing were missing their nozzles altogether. Even if true, N30 is the operational minimum number of engines required to conduct the mission. When this lifted off, there was...
Why is he using the Starship model from like 2021?
It also should be 29 because Booster 4 had 29 and it could do orbit capable.
God help me.
And that was Raptor version 1.5.
Automatically zero margin for error. As soon as one more engine craps out, you're facing total mission failure.
Well, that's how margins work.
It also depends on what point in the flight this happens.
If one engine is lost, like at Miko, like right before Miko, you're fine.
Like, I think if you're like 3 seconds away from Miko and like 3 or like, no, okay, let's say this. He says the minimum is you have to have his 30 running, okay? So, and that's, wait, what? Oh, okay. So you cannot lose more than 3 engines. So let's say you're 5 seconds away from Miko. Let's say 5 engines just flame out. I think you'll be fine.
I don't like this game.
And that's what happened only 27 seconds later.
Then at T plus 27 seconds, engine 19 lost communications, concurrent with some kind of energetic event that liberated the outer heat shield from the engines 17, 18, 19, and 20 area. You can see this on video, actually.
The energetic event, which liberates the outer heat shields of engines 17, 18, 19, and 20, occurred at this point of the launch. Now we know what number engines are in that area, and that the material falling away is the heat shield for 4 engines. Not even a minute into a flight that already started off with 3 dead units, and now the margin for error has definitely been exceeded.
This is the space.
And that's fine, because this is a test flight. It's literally called Starship Test Flight.
Starship, nice. SpaceX literally changed the Starship flight test name from Starship Orbital Flight Test to Integrated Flight Test because it was all of the integrated systems coming together for the very first time for a integrated flight test of the systems.
Test. Definition of test. Let's Google it. Oh. A procedure intended to establish the quality, performance, or reliability of something, especially before it is taken into widespread use.
That's what this was doing before Starship starts doing multiple launches a day.
It won't do multiple launches a day, but
It'll probably in 8 years it might do 2 launches a day.
doubt. Anyway, yeah, test.
SpaceX best assessment after a week. So something bad happened at T plus 27 seconds because engine 19 lost all communications and some kind of explosion.
Y'all, all my homies hate Engine 19.
Let's put a poll in chat. Is Engine 19 good or bad?
Do we need a poll for that?
Yes.
I'm doing everything public today. Alright, answer that.
Explosion happened to knock out the heat shields of engines 17, 18, 19, and 20.
Yes is good, no is bad.
At T plus 62 seconds, we see additional aft heat shield damage near engine 30. However, the engine continues to run. And then at T 85 seconds is where things really hit the fan. We see engine 6 with loss of communication to thrust vector control. from this point onwards, we lose thrust vector control of the rocket, so we lose steering.
T plus 85 seconds is when they lost control of the rocket, no longer able to steer it. The flight exploded at almost the 4-minute mark, which would be the 240-second mark. Let's see what the announcers were telling viewers around the T plus 85 mark, shall we?
The velocity increases. The density of the atmosphere is decreasing.
Max Q.
Lessening stress on the vehicle. The call out, Max Q now. Continuing to watch the first stage as we head downrange. 100 seconds into flight. Our next major activity is going to be
Acquisition
set
of signal,
down
Houston.
of the first stage.
Before Houston announced acquisition of signal, Starship was already no longer steerable. At T plus 85 seconds, the vehicle...
Does he think they only get signal when they say acquisition of signal?
They.
There's a tracking station at Starbase.
Corpus Christi was also tracking the flight since like T plus 30 seconds.
But no, that means that Houston was the point where they started getting data, of course.
Indeed.
This is ridiculous.
I don't think you should do this on stream. Hit show password. Oh. Oh, wait, I'm slow. We're having a slight hold in the middle of this because we're slowly dying.
Yeah.
How are we 40 minutes into streaming?
We are 11 minutes into the video and 40 minutes into the stream, pretty much.
This is not good. So we have a ratio of 11 to 40.
Average center engine mixture ratio.
Oh God, for real.
I hate life.
was moving 915 kilometers per hour at an elevation of 10 kilometers. Ground control allowed that flight to continue to an elevation of 39 kilometers to speeds over 2100 kilometers per hour. Given the proximity to populated areas
Oh my god, no!
in both the US and Mexico, that seems beyond irresponsible.
What? Oh my god, help me. It went to the ocean. It can't turn around and hit populated areas.
You can literally see it on our radar. You can probably get the clip somewhere if you just go search it up. But you
Yeah.
can literally see Starship's explosion was big enough where it popped up on a radar over the Gulf of Mexico.
There. That's where it was. I can't. This is so close to populated areas, right?
Very much not downrange.
Yep.
What's your best guess as to what caused the initial engine issues? And then I guess it cascaded after that, but what do you think happened?
I think we don't know with certainty. We did generate quite the rock tornado at the base of the vehicle. Our first guess would have been that the rock tornado would have caused potentially significant damage to the engines, but we weirdly do not see evidence of the rock tornado actually damaging engines or heat shields in a
I gotta say, I love the name Rock Tornado anyway.
material way.
This really does seem a ridiculous statement to make, given not only the state of the OLM and pad, but also the subsequent cascading failure of the rocket itself. You might not have a video screenshot of a chunk of fondag shattering pieces of the engine compartment, nor would you possibly expect to get such a shot in this maelstrom of destruction using normal cameras, but you can certainly infer from the extreme damage to the pad, and the video capturing tons of cement getting hurled straight up the
Cement?
side of the rocket, that the engine compartment did not escape injury. However,
That's why there's engine shielding on the outside. I wonder why there's engine shielding. I can't.
the point of the external engine shieldings design that goes on the top of the engines was literally for one, designed for that concrete reason if concrete gets flung up and comes back down close to the rocket so the engines don't get damaged. And two, so when ice falls off the booster in the ship, it doesn't hit the engines. It was literally designed for debris to hit it instead of the engines.
I mean, clearly not all of that survived,
Engine 30.
but still, that's what it was made for, and it obviously worked with the concrete.
If it truly didn't catch any damage from the launch, as Musk suggests here, that only means that scenario can no longer be used as an excuse, and his rocket behaved that much worse all on its own.
Yes, his rocket, no one else's rocket. This is only Elon Musk's work.
Definitely
You
not
can't
partnered with NASA.
have it both ways. But now Musk has some comments to make about the Raptor engines on Booster 7.
The engines on Booster 7 were built over a long period of time, so each engine was a little bit of a unique item, whereas the engines on Booster 9, which is next, are much newer and more consistent, and really with significant reliability improvements over.
Don't-
Like I stated, there were like multiple different engine versions on B7 and S24.
If he says, then why didn't they just launch Booster 9? I'm gonna lose my mind.
Booster 7. So I think we'll see a much more robust engine situation with Booster 9.
Now we find out that the 33 Raptors they strapped to Booster 7
Strapped.
were pretty much all the older, mismatched, unreliable engines in the inventory, all built at different times. Why waste all the good, reliable units they're putting on Booster 9 for the maiden launch the entire world would be watching, right?
Oh, wow!
Maybe it's
Actually-
because the mounting points are different, because it's basically a different engine.
I cannot. I wonder why they would try to test the rocket. You know what? I can't even explain this. If you don't get it yourself, then I shouldn't explain it.
Right? Just clear out all the old inventory. Nobody will know the difference. And to be fair, until he told us this factoid, nobody did. Probably not even the FAA when they granted the launch license.
My booty hole.
But it gets better as he keeps going.
The shields, which are both force and heat shields around the engines for Booster 9, are much better because they would retrofit it. Booster 7, we kind of retrofitted heat shields, whereas Booster 9 is designed in.
Okay, the jury-rigged shielding on 7 and got blasted off sucked, and
Help me.
Booster 7 was literally basically a pathfinder to learn how to build the engine section and the next generation of Super Heavy.
It was like
That's
how
why, like,
Booster 4.
That's why literally everything on Booster 7 was retrofit, besides the engines, pretty much.
It's like how Booster 4 was a test vehicle for the ground systems at the OON. Booster 7 was a test for the flight systems. Booster 9 will continue testing different flight systems after fixing the ones that failed on the first flight. Help me.
and 9 is supposed to be better because it's built in and not retrofitted.
Yeah, because it's a way better shielding. I don't understand what he doesn't get about this. It's just better shielding.
Anything else?
It was actually just good to get this vehicle off the ground because we've made so many improvements to Booster 9 and beyond. We really just needed to fly this vehicle and then move on to the much improved Booster 9.
So Musk pretty much just needed to get rid of this Frankenstein vehicle to make room for Booster 9. And it looks like he even managed to dump this trashy ICBM into Mexican domestic waters without...
I'm not even going to, but if I did pull up the Not Mars, if I pulled up the Not Mars, the note to Marine, the note to Mariners, if I pulled that up, you would see that it also extended into, Mexico.
And also the point, literally, SpaceX did not feel like doing a whole nother test campaign with Booster 9 and Ship 25. Their point of B7 and S24 flying was to literally get flight data, get it off the pad, and just get the old design of Booster and Ship gone. And literally, they just wanted to fly it at this point.
anybody saying a damn thing about it. Win-win. Next point brought up by Musk is this.
So the thing that we want to make sure of probably most with the next flight is that any kind of central nexus that controls multiple engines is extremely robust and with extra shielding, so that we don't have a single point that can take out multiple engines, and for sure we don't want a single point that can take out thrust vector control, which is engine steering.
If he does not understand what electric thrust vector control is, that this day will be the end of me.
Now, to the layman's ear, that sounds like Booster 7 was designed so poorly that the failure of one component could take out multiple engines and steering, and they now have to fix that in Booster 9 somehow. It also sounds like a design that would not have passed muster in the first place at any other rocket company ever. Zach from CSI Starbase asked a two-part question that was probably more important than he thought it was. Tell you why after Musk answers.
Two-part question, like what actually triggers second stage ignition, and also the second part of that question, did Ship 24 attempt to light its engines after the destruction of Booster 7?
When flight termination is executed, it's executed on both. So the ship currently does not attempt to save itself. Arguably, maybe it should. That's a good point.
Yes, inarguably, Starship should try to save itself, or else this thing is never getting human rated. Or did you forget the fact that a crew abort scenario still has to be worked out with this craft?
Finally, an actually good point. For once, a actually good point. Starship doesn't have an abort system. Finally. One good point. We're 15 minutes in, and we got one good point. Okay.
During the Starship 2022 update, Musk even touched on this.
Is that Chris G?
Yes, that is Chris Gebhardt.
Suggesting, without showing, that the Starship itself would be able to react quickly enough to rocket away from a booster disaster scenario.
The Starship will not have an independent abort system, but I think something that would make sense is to have the thruster weight of the ship be enough that it could take off from the booster, even if the booster has a failure at the pad level.
That seems unlikely.
Is that Booster 3?
Wait, what?
Is that Booster 3?
That was one of the renders from like 2021-ish of SN10 on top of Booster 3, yes.
Oh god.
No, that was either Booster 3 or Booster BN2.
Oh god, it might be BN2. Or is it BN1? Wasn't BN2 a test tank?
No, BN2 was a production. It's either BN1, BN2, or B3.
BN1 was a full super heavy like test article.
No, so was BN2. It was BN2.1 and B2.1 that were the test tanks.
Anyway, that's BN3. Help me.
That seems
Actually,
unlikely,
it's
but
B3.
that was the pitch a year ago. So let it be known that as of April 27th, 2023, no consideration for saving the Starship in the case of a failure has been contemplated, when they have already taken money in 2018 for a human flight around the moon they have yet to make good on. Now, we've taken out most of Dodd's fawning in this interview, but he pipes up with this comment and embarrasses himself.
So ready for this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It looks like the engine's lit after the booster let go, and after the booster finally blew up. Like there's what looks like.
Then, unfortunately, the recorded audio cuts out for 15 seconds, and whatever answer Musk gave him is lost to everyone listening. But if Tim would like to show us where, in the 2 seconds between explosions, after the ship started folding in,
I can find it for you guys.
Oh no.
There. Right there. Right next to the little ball of fire at the bottom of the smoke cloud. Right there. It's right there. That's what looks like 3 RVACs lit on the ship. There you go. We found it for you. Are you happy? Like... Help me. Also, to me, it kind of looks like the boosters forward, or not the boosters, the ship's forward flap appears above where that blue fire was. If you kind of look, hold on, let me share my cursor. To me, it kind of looks like the, oh my god, it's still not capturing it. Oh, okay, there it is. Right here, when I move forward in the frames, you might be able to see it, but I feel like I see the forward flap. But that's just me. Anyway.
Folding in half, where he saw Starship try to ignite engines to save itself. We'd love to see him try. And when Musk...
We don't know if the RVACs ignited because according to Elon, they didn't ignite. But to me, they look like they did ignite. But I'm going to trust Elon on this because it does sound kind of stupid anyway.
Comes back on, he's talking about another big difference between Booster 7 and Booster 9.
The big things that are like important for the next flight are isolation of thrust vector control, which with the Booster 9 is a lot easier because we use electric motors to steer the engines as opposed to hydraulic actuators where you've got a common manifold between the hydraulic actuators. So if you lose hydraulic pressure, you can lose multiple engines essentially.
So one more reason why Booster 7 is inferior to Booster 9. Completely different steering controls.
Booster 4.
I mean, at least it says it's Booster 4. You see it?
Sadly.
Electric motors versus common manifold hydraulics. So the next wreck that Mexico...
No! No! Oh my... No! Why are you showing an oil spill? Oh my god. I actually... No! This is not Deepwater Horizon. This is from Deepwater Horizon. I remember this. No! No!
has to clean up won't have to deal with leaking hydraulic fluid.
All the hydraulic fluid burned off! Help me!
I'm dying.
Because there was so much hydraulic fluid in the first place. It would be barely any compared to an oil spill. You could use like gallon jugs to clean it up compared. Like,
how considerate of them. Now, is anyone else wondering at this point if anybody from the FAA so much as laid eyes on Booster 7 before certifying it for launch? But now it's time to talk about upgrading the pad. And Irene opens that conversation with these rapid-fire questions in a row.
Elon, since you've gone ahead and excavated your launch mount a bit, I assume you're going to go ahead and put in that steel grid and the water deluge. Do you think that will fully address the issue of the wider than expected debris field? And are you expecting any pushback from environmental and kind of community groups that this event did put debris where it wasn't expected?
Musk's answer and failure to answer these questions tells you
what do you mean failure to... Okay.
Everything you need to know about how seriously he's taking the damage he caused to the surrounding area.
Oh my god, we're 18 minutes in and we've almost been live for an hour. Help me.
He could not give a shit.
I mean, the debris is really just, basically sand and rock. So it's not like, not toxic at all or anything. It's just, it's like a sandstorm, essentially. Basically a human-made sandstorm. But we don't want to do that again.
A human-created sandstorm, he calls it. Well, here's some news for Mr. Musk. Pulverized concrete dust.
Oh, God.
Is not sand. Sand falling 10 miles away in Port Isabel is bad enough, but the dark cloud carrying jagged microscopic fragments of launch pad that settles into people's and animals' lungs is a serious health concern.
I'm pretty sure you can actually see it in the picture. The wind carried this directly away from Boca Chica, and I'm sure all the stuff that did fall has been gone for ages now. And if it's not already settled on the ground, it's being carried up in the high atmosphere. I feel like the nuclear tests in like the 40s are gonna have more of an effect now than a few particles from a Starship launch. This is not even that bad. It's been a lot worse in the past. I don't understand how this is gonna be an extreme environmental hazard. There's been volcano eruptions. I think those are more. He's trying to make it sound like this is some extreme health problem and that we all need to like mask up, get inside the house, go away, leave, get out of the United States. It's not even that bad. You had to excel a space. Do you have anything to say about this?
Check bad and also check the apps.
Okay, time to check those. Hold has been released.
And adding that mixture of non-native aggregate calcium aluminate dust to the local environment, covering algal flats and vegetation and animals, and mixing in with the water those animals drink, well, that ought to keep the environmentalists quite busy tallying up the long-term damage caused by this one single launch. So here's his genius plan to avoid this from happening again, which is bound to work out just as well as any of his other failed genius plans.
We're going to be putting down basically water.
Yeah, Falcon 9 was an amazing, well, actually was a failed genius plan. It doesn't work anymore. Never worked anyway.
Jacketed sandwich. That's 2 layers of very thick plate steel that are also sort of perforated on the upper side, so that you have what is basically a massive, super strong steel shower head pointing up. And then the water pressure coming out of there has to exceed the engine's thrust is exerting on the steel plate beneath the launch stand. So, which is all doable, and we should not have a rock tornado with the next flight.
A steel plate perforated with holes using an extruded liquid to cool down the surface in a high heat environment. Where have we heard that before? Well, yeah, that's another one of the genius ideas that never worked out on this same vehicle. One of the early claims Musk made, which got him all sorts of undeserved positive press about this craft, was that instead of using heat tiles to stave off the heat caused by re-entry, the skin of Starship was either going to ooze water, or the later claim was it was going to ooze propellant through thousands of tiny holes in the ship's outer skin. His minions cheered on his genius. The rest of us knew exactly what to think of it. It's actually not far off his Hyperloop stupidity.
Help me. That was literally from like the earliest Starship proposals for designs and stuff. And it's completely different than thick steel plates. The Starship is literally what, 4 millimeters thick?
3 to 4, depending on what steel they use.
Yeah, so basically, let's just say 4. 4 millimeters thick. Is the steel that they're using not like multiple inches thick?
On what?
On the water-cooled steel plates?
Yeah, it's like 26 inches thick.
And they're running high-pressure water through it. I don't think it's gonna melt.
When he claimed Hyperloop was like an air hockey table in a vacuum tube, a concept so easy his interns could work it out. And that worked out so well, they even tore out the Hyperloop test track that they used for the annual competitions, which to date also yielded no useful technology. Anyway, according to Musk, they're going to install a mega steel sandwich, between the plates of which water will flow before being forced out of a 10 or so meter wide shower head, at pressures comparable to the forces bearing down at them from the rocket. Who comes up with this stuff?
I wonder how normal water deluge works.
I don't know. Maybe we could pull up a little rocket called the Space Launch System.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Space Launch System Water Deluge.
Oh!
Oh wow.
It's almost like it's got this cement on it. I don't know if it's gonna show it here, but yeah, it's perforated and water shoots through it.
Yeah.
Or no, not. Wait, hold on. This is confusing me. I was thinking about Starfleet. Water is
Oh,
poured
yeah, I was
onto
too.
this.
What?
Water is poured onto this. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it on the mobile launcher on the top there's 4 water nozzles.
It's water poured onto it. And it survives 2 SRBs. And you're telling me this thick water-cooled plate that's like made of thick steel with water being forced through it isn't going to survive? I can't.
There's a CGI artist named Ryan Hansen, and he seems to hang on Musk's every word. He shared a series of renders where he takes what Musk said and tries to visualize this for people.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why he would listen to the CEO of SpaceX.
Yeah, and maybe like I don't know, maybe Ryan Hansen is part of like the Artists of Spaceflight animation team.
Maybe this is his job.
Wait, really?
Oh my god.
These are some of the pics he's come up with so far, and they depict a plate top and bottom with honeycombing in between them to allow water to circulate.
You call that honeycomb?
In this one, he also has water bubbling up out of the pad, which of course would get blasted out of the way immediately upon rocket ignition. And this isn't really what Musk said in the interview anyway. Musk wants a 100
Oh, help me.
square meter showerhead, shooting jets of water into the engine compartment with enough force to counter the rocket engines bearing down on it. Again, this is what the plate is staring down.
I think that IFT2 is just like the most perfect flight ever just so this guy can shut up.
He's gonna be like 3 TPS house with a lot of complete failure.
Yeah, actually, he even no matter what happens, he's gonna be like, well, Starship is obviously more expensive than SLS, so
Even though Starship is like 1/4, like probably like 3/4 of the cost.
no, the best part, I think it was $5 billion for the whole Boca Chica site development and launches.
I mean, well, okay, so the high altitude flight test prototypes, each of those were between like $6 to $8 million per one.
That's cheap,
I know.
considering how big Starship is.
We'll have to do this math later.
And that sounds like a wonderful environment for the electric motors that are supposed to be replacing the hydraulic.
Oh, Christ help me! The motors aren't at the nozzles! And what? They're not shooting water directly into the engines! They're not! Nobody's stupid enough to do that!
It shoots them out on a diagonal angle.
So it doesn't hit the engines?
I don't think water and fire mix too well.
Also, last time I checked, it can rain, and the vehicle is fine, so I don't think it needs to be completely, like, you know, I give up, you guys get it.
It's not like 2 days after Starship launched, like, there was basically a hurricane that came through Starbase.
Mechanisms. Basically, you need to ask yourself this question. If you're standing in front of this with a fire hose from 50 feet away, what size of fire hose do you need to have to stop the force before it gets to you?
Not how it works.
Then the second question is, are you going to be able to hold that fire hose? Newton's law regarding actions and reactions suggests that fire hose is going to throw you around like a rag doll.
Sir, there are like a bajillion piles under where the water-cooled steel plates are supposed to be. I think it'll be fine.
So if this plate manages to shoot water
call him
out
sir,
the top
call him
of it
child.
with enough force to counter 33 Raptor engines at take.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Not even child. Creature.
Thing.
Figment of my imagination.
Thingamabob.
Does that not mean the plate would now be exerting that same amount of force downwards into the foundation?
Yeah, that's why there's a bunch of foundation.
And
If water is getting shot out of one end of an object,
I think water likes to stop sound and energy.
Also, You can't comment on the foundation without seeing the foundation first. 1 week after the launch, there was no foundation put in.
Pretty much.
Like, you can't comment on it yet.
That object tends to move the other way. And if that plate presses down with that type of force, what is it going to be crushing?
The piles, which are very secure.
Well, if you take a look at the work done on the site to date, and account for the fact that instead of cutting out the twisted rebar, they instead straightened it.
Oh, it's not like you can see the cutout rebar right next to the tower in the top left of the screen. Wait, what? I can't. What? It's right there. Are you stupid? It's literally sitting there. I can't do this.
You have to expect that they're going to be pouring concrete again for the plate to sit on, which means if the water is unable to hold back the forces of the rocket, and the rockets are able to get underneath the plate, and or if the plate itself crushes the structure it's sitting on, not only is the concrete scenario going to be played out again, these steel plates are also going to get thrown about as additional shrapnel. Okay, let's go back to this model from Ryan Hansen, since it shows a pattern of holes meant for the water to get forced up out of. We'll count up one section and multiply by 6, since the pad represents a hexagon. In this section, there's 112 individual holes, making a total on the pad of 672.
Why would you count that?
Holes.
He probably did. He probably made up some number.
He just looked down and was like, that looks like 112.
20 water nozzles per Raptor engine in the booster. Now, in comparison, this is a test of the water deluge system at the SLS launch site at Kennedy's Pad 39B. It uses 450,000 gallons, or about 1.7 million liters of water, to knock down the sound energy and vibrations of the massive SLS rocket launch. SLS is rated at 39 meganewtons maximum thrust. Super Heavy Booster is rated at 72 meg.
And that is an old graphic from his Little Enemy. That's an everyday astronaut graphic, and he's using it. This guy.
Newtons. So to keep the ratio about the same, you're looking at having about 830,000
That's not how that works.
gallons, or 3.14.
SLS has SRBs. We have liquid engines. SRBs produce a bajillion times more heat than liquid engines.
Million liters of water to keep the noise and vibrations in check, ignoring the exponential qualities of sound pressure level. Meaning each hole in the pad we're looking at would need to be responsible for 1,235 gallons of water in a matter of seconds.
I hate
no
life.
diameter on the hole was provided, so PSI, etc. are left to the imagination. But let's do a little math and see what it might come to. To work out PSI, multiply the gallons per minute by 4, then divide by pi times the diameter squared measured in feet. Let's say the total deluge cycle takes 15 seconds to complete. Multiply the 1235 by 4 to get to a minute, 1,000 psi, which is approaching the 30,000 psi used by water cutting jets. Which brings us...
Water jets have abrasive in them. If they didn't have the abrasive, they wouldn't be able to cut the things. So, there you go.
To another point about the deluge system at Kennedy. This entire stream is gravity fed from the water tower on site. There are no pumps in this delivery system at all. But if Musk is going to try to pull this off, he will have to rely entirely on pumps to get the job done.
I actually hate life. So there's this little thing called high pressure gas cylinders. They've kind of been at the launch site for months. And those are used to push the water, not pumps. But okay.
The question is, do they even make pumps that can handle that kind of volume? And the short answer is no. No, they don't. We know by comparison that to mitigate sound and vibrations the same way as Kennedy does for the SLS, they're looking at...
Did you forget this is SpaceX and they made a rocket that's like twice the thrust of the Saturn V? I think they could make water pumps that can pump that much water.
No, did you even hear what he was saying?
It's probably a good thing I didn't.
He said to push all the water for the Starship Deluge, they'll need pumps.
They have high pressure tanks there.
That's what I said.
Providing 830,000 gallons of water to the pad in about 15 seconds. So 3.32 million gallons, or 12.6 million liters per minute. That's 210,000 liters, 210 tons of water per second. And the world's most powerful water pump, according to this 2021 article and a Guinness Book of World Records, is capable of delivering roughly 1/4 that volume at 60,000 liters or 60 tons of water per second.
Then use 4 of them!
So, if they ever decided to use pumps, just get 4 of these.
I actually dislike existence.
And to operate, it requires 4 megawatts of power. Musk would need 4 of these units in Boca Chica to replicate what Kennedy does with gravity.
But they're not using pumps. So then that's completely ruled out. This was known at the time. He's just ignorant.
But it's about time we put an end to this water-cooled pad nonsense anyway. Has anybody asked why Musk is trying to reinvent the water wheel where rocket launches are concerned? Because that answer is actually very simple. When Musk announced his intentions to grow his operations in Boca Chica, he discovered SpaceX would have to work with the Army Corps of Engineers to mitigate the effects such operations would have on the local area, resulting in SpaceX filing permit application SWG 2012-00381. The Corps asked for public input on March 4th of 2021. In May of 2021, the Corps wrote to SpaceX outlining concerns from the public, also from the US EPA, the US FWS, the Texas Commission for Environmental Quality, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Musk ignored the letter and continued to build up Boca Chica without cooperating with the Corps in any way.
Definitely.
So, on March 7th of 2022, the Department of the Army sent SpaceX another letter telling them that their permit application was being withdrawn due to lack of contact, no response to the public concerns, and no compensatory mitigation plan for the works that were being suggested.
This is 2021. This is 2021. Why are you using this 2 years later?
Which means, among other things, Musk cannot build a water...
Wait a minute. Oh no! This video, I forgot. It came out May 24th. He's just glossing over everything that happened in that time. I hate life.
water deluge
I don't
system.
feel like starting a new video.
Such a system requires fresh water, not salt water, and that water cannot be released into the estuaries surrounding the Boca Chica launch site. It would have to be caught and held in holding and settling ponds, the same as it is at Kennedy. This is the Starship OLM location, and this is the border between it and the protected nature preserves. There is absolutely no room to build holding and settling ponds for any sort of deluge system. So what is Musk's big plan here? Well, remember that time
Musk
made flamethrowers for the Boring Company, but selling flamethrowers is actually illegal since they're a prohibited weapon, so he labeled them not a flamethrower, and he got away with it? Or at Tesla, how his full self-driving...
That's wrong. Flamethrowers are only illegal in 2 states.
program didn't actually produce cars that were full self-driving, and according to the company, in legal filings, that system will never exceed an ADAS Level 2 rating. Or how Musk told the FAA that the launch tower he was building at Boca Chica without a permit wasn't actually a launch tower. The exact same thing is happening here. This mega steel water plate idea is Musk's version of not a water deluge system.
What? What do you mean it's not a water deluge system? I'm actually losing brain cells. It's literally what it is. It's a water deluge system. Do you know what a water deluge is? No? Then don't comment on it.
Guessing that Musk figures if he doesn't build a normal water deluge system like every other grown-up launch site has, and if he calls it something different like a water-cooled mega steel pancake, then he'll be off the hook with the Army Corps of Engineers. So now the question is, are the Army Corps of Engineers a bunch of pussies who are going to tolerate an end run like that? How stupid does Musk think they are? And what is the punishment going to be when Musk tries activating this ridiculous system and pollutes the local environment with 1 million gallons of fresh water runoff because it's pretty obvious he has no intentions of building the ponds that are required?
Yes, him. Him. It's all him. It's all Elon Musk.
Musk had the ability to do things properly at Boca Chica with the assistance of the Army Corps of Engineers, and he refused to play ball. Just like at his Twitter headquarters, where he's now under fire for breaking local and federal laws related to the building occupied by Twitter, where he refuses to pay rent. Musk's pattern is obvious. You only have to open your eyes to see it. Time for the obvious question then.
Joey from Reuters, why couldn't you install that before this launch? Was that a technical reason or a regulatory reason?
It wasn't ready. It's not like we expected. If we'd expected to dig a hole, we would not have flown.
That answer is so telling. The water-cooled steel plate wasn't installed because it wasn't ready in time. This would indicate that Musk's launch schedule for this date superseded readiness of the platform.
Can I go to sleep yet?
Can I die, please? Can I die? Okay.
I've just given up on trying to win at this point, because the second he sees this on Twitter somewhere, he's just going to complain about it, or either block us or try to make some fake arguments. I've just resorted to watching TikTok in the background.
Do we really need to complete this? Do
I don't know. I feel
to?
like the public can do the rest on their own.
I
because
think you guys can grasp it.
Yeah, I think everyone gets the grasp of how non-smart this guy is.
I've run out of
How many minutes are we into the video, and how long have we been live for?
We're live for almost an hour 20, and we're 30 minutes in.
I think it's time that we leave.
I've already wasted enough of my life on this.
If someone wants to tag CommonSenseSkeptic on Twitter to part 1 and part 2 of debunking him, go ahead. We've lost too many brain cells to how stupid he is.
You know what? Actually, no. Wait, no. Hold on. This is not if you want to tag him. If you're watching the stream right now, tag him in a tweet with both parts. I dare him to make a response video and see how that turns out.
We will literally do all this again.
If we need to, we will review that video 3 times. Anyway, continue.
Well, I'm Excelospace and Starship 24, and I'm gonna go now, so I'm gonna let IDOT take the rest of the stream.
Oh yeah, the rest of the stream is ending right now. I'm at Aeronautics, ASA Aeronautics Space Agency. Thank you for watching me die with Starship 24, and see you next time.